All right, D Loc round two. We back at a different park. Tell us where we at.
Virginia Park, Santa Monica, Virginia, original Virginia Park Playboys.
For the dime moves in the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you've been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf. I
was the founder. I created Conan Pocket in my mother's garage.
I had a lot of, lifting weights, and I was on swole. They start calling me Big Miz.
Original Stutter Box, Eastside Fighters, Pablo Bishop, Mid City Gangsta Bloods.
Yeah, Mac video, you know, this is for sure. Yeah, Mac video, open your soul.
This is the beginning.
All right, we had to come back and do a round two because the wind killed that first interview. So there's a couple of stories that got chopped out of that first interview. So let's get started, man. I want to ask you about the Venice Shorelines. Speaking on a Crip gang that predates the Graveyard Crips called the Bayfront Crips. What can you tell us about these Bayfront Crips?
Well, honestly, that's the first time I ever heard of it. I ain't never heard of no Bayside Crips and none of that, anything out here going. You know, those guys are much older than me. If he's entitled to his opinion, but I can only go by what I know. Graveyard, we put it right here. When we came with it, we was the original ones that did it right here. And it's the only Crip hood I ever heard of.
So the older blacks in the Pico neighborhood, the ones that are older than you, none of these guys were Cripping?
No, not to my knowledge. I ain't never, you know what I mean? I ain't never heard nobody. No, they wasn't. You know, some may dress to par, but no, it's a different story. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know they say Venice and Santa Monica are brothers. You guys have family ties on both sides. You don't think some of that Venice Cripping kind of crept into Santa Monica before your time?
I mean, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen it. I've been here since, like I said, I grew up with some of the older guys that's that age, and I have never seen none of it. I know they just used to be little cliques or whatever with their little cars, but no, I've never seen it.
What can you tell us about Sean Garland?
Oh, Sean too? Oh, man. There's a lot of stories I done heard about. I used to be terrified of that guy when I was a teenager, you know what I'm saying? But he was always in and out of jail. And I just know he was, you know what I'm saying, what you call, he wasn't the one to fuck with. Quiet, you know what I'm saying, come from one of them families over there. Daddy looked like Lou Gossett Jr. You know, sisters I went to school with, Michelle, and his older sister, I know who she is, but I really.
So you pointed in that direction. You say his family came from over there. What does that mean, over there?
The back, they call it, the young homies call it the back hood. Something, something new to me.
Who was Sean Garland related to? Who was his crew? When you seen Sean, who was around him?
Most of his cousins, like Sammy Murphy, Tyrone Murphy, them is like his cousins, you know what I'm saying? I done heard stories where they like, man, it used to be like, they go to high school and they get out of, stop at McDonald's, and everybody going to McDonald's to get something to eat. Sean don't want nothing to eat, you know what I'm saying? And everybody make it back out of McDonald's. All of a sudden, he changed his mind. He goes to McDonald's. When he come out, he got a pistol in one hand and a money bag in the other one. Everybody in the car. You know what I mean? He didn't win, jack the whole place from what I done heard. I done heard stories about it. That's why I used to be terrified of him.
Was Sean Cripping at that time?
No. I ain't never heard him say anything about no Cripping. Yeah, like I say, he dressed the part. He had the Pendletons and all that on, back in our era. That's what they did, but no, I ain't never heard him say, heard cuz or anything come out of his mouth or anything about a Crip. Never have.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Honey Bear from Venice Shoreline?
Yes, sir. It's crimey. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, if you have any knowledge on that, how was Sean Garland from Santa Monica crimes with Honey Bear from Venice Shorelines? What was their relationships? What was that about?
Probably about some prison shit they done did back in the days doing time. You know what I'm saying? And he was kind of like, from what I understand, you know what I'm saying, he was rolling with the BGF, Sean. You know what I'm saying? So I guess Honey Bear too. I don't know. I can't say, but you hear different things. So that's probably how they collaborated right there. You know what I'm saying? And then, like you said, Sean got ties down there. His people, some reputable people from down there, the Garlands. You know what I'm saying? Little Duba, Big Duba. You know what I'm saying?
Also, he do have family from Venice Shoreline.
Yeah.
Has he ever been known to claim Venice Shoreline?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I can't say that.
We're gonna move past that now. On the last interview, we had touched on the Poplocking era, but the wind killed it. So I want you to kind of explain the late 70s Poplocking era in Santa Monica and West LA. Who were the crews and what did they end up becoming?
Okay. Shit, you used to have, well, out here we used to be, everybody was mostly dancers and shit. Then you had Venice was the Ghost Town Lockers, Schoolyards with the Royal Flush Poppers. Then you had Captain the Crunch and the Funky Bunch, all those cats. Yamo was from Culver City. He wasn't really, he was neutral. Then out here we had a little shit called Zodiac Dancers. I was part of that, you know what I'm saying? Then they had a little thing called Young Blood Dancers too out here. You know, 2 little cliques or whatever. And as far as and the PBGs, as you know, they had the Bedford Boys and they had the dancers too. And the Playboy dancers and whatnot. And let me see. The Marvins, they was before all of them really was, everybody was down. I forget what the Marvins was though. They was just, I didn't really see too many of them Poplocking though. This one dude, that was Jerome, that used to be with Short Dog from the Lynch Mob. That's the only one I ever seen Poplock from over there. He rest in peace.
So were these crews all independent crews that competed against each other, or were you guys friends, rivals? How did that work out?
Yeah, most of the time we end up at dances or skating rings, like Arlington Skating Ring or whatever, you know what I'm saying, Flippers or whatever. We end up popping. Flippers was a skating ring they closed down Halloween. I think it was 82, 80, yeah, I think that was 1982, 81.
And that's where you guys used to battle at?
Yeah, wherever we see each other, mostly Venice Beach though, but every time we go to Venice Beach, that's the Shorelines area, and they see certain areas, ain't no more Poplocking, it's going on.
What was the Shoreline crew called, the Poplockers?
They was called Ghost Town.
Ghost Town.
Ghost Town Lockers.
So who was the premier Poplocker crew out of West LA? Who were the guys that everybody talked about? Who was the #1 guys?
Oh man, to keep it real, it was Stephen Gumbas, Yamo, Cornelius Lee, and James. I forget James' last name. Them was the ones.
And what crew were they from?
Yamo was from Culver City. He was over there, really Fox Hill, by Fox Hill Mall. And Stephen Gumbas and all them, they was out of West LA, but they moved over there to PBG area. You know what I'm saying? They was over here off the Venice area and Bagley in that area, and they moved to PBG area.
All right.
Cornelius Lee was from Schoolyard. He was out of Schoolyard, but he wasn't banging that then, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't around.
So let me ask you something. This whole Poplocking era, are you in junior high or high school at the time?
Junior high to high school, junior high. Because I was in junior high, I was in the 7th grade, 77. So that's when, you know what I mean? It all come around like 79, 78 when people, you know what I mean?
So Poplocking starts fading away around 79, 80-ish? It starts fading away?
I would say...
Or did it leak into the 80s?
It leaked into the 80s, then it came with breakdancing.
Okay.
That was my little brothers in the era, you know what I mean?
What were the Mexicans doing while you guys were Poplocking? Were they Poplocking with y'all? They had their own shit.
Well, like I say, back then, the Mexicans out here, they used to hang, we all played sports and hung with each other in my era, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of them would spend the night over our house, or we'd spend the night over their house. Mostly it was sports. Some of them would try to dance, you know what I'm saying, and this and that or whatever, but they wasn't really with the, like they are now, you know what I mean?
So, when you guys left the Poplocking alone and started cripping, you basically formed a set within an established Mexican territory. Did they take offense to that at first, or they let you guys do your thing? How did that relationship work out once you guys established a real street gang in their territory?
Well, it didn't really, like I say, they was established a little bit, but all the ones that was really somebody from there, Santa Monica 17th Street, I grew up with. Big Midget, rest in peace. Smiley, everybody know Benny. They had to send him back to Mexico. You know, he hung out with us. We get into it. He get into it with the Venice essays. We got his back. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it was like if you come in Santa Monica and you get into it with anybody in Santa Monica, Mexicans and blacks, we together and we see each other, we own it. Simple as that.
I kind of want to replay the formation of Graveyard just briefly. If you can give me the 5 or 7 man crew that started Graveyard, and if you can remember the exact year after the Poplocking Era in the 80s, when did you guys form Graveyard, and who were these people that formed it?
As far as like the people that, the little crew, let me see. My homie Mr. B, One Punch, my brothers Big Satch, me, D Loc of course, Fat Rat was around, my homie Seal was around, Sylvester, he was around, who else did I say? TC was around. He don't come around, but he was around. Tone, he was around, but he kind of like, he running around. He probably somewhere in this park right now. I don't even know what the day is, you know what I mean? I'm just keeping the G. Yeah, that's the mainly the whole crew. Ploop too, my homie Ploop. We was always together. When you see one, you see all of us.
I asked about the wars. Santa Monica was fighting who?
Santa Monica was fighting everybody. The Sawtelles, they used to come up in the park. We playing basketball up in here. They come up in here, chase some of the Mexicans or whatever, this and that or whatever. If they outnumber, we got their back because we grew up with them. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't let them do whatever. You know, they didn't pull machetes out on me, but they used to get into it with the Sawtelles, the Cover Cities, the 18th Street, and the V13s.
What was their biggest rival, if you remember?
As far as who they don't get along with?
Back then, who was the one that...
I would say Venice and Sawtelle, I would say. They got into it really with Cover City when that race war started. That's when all that shit happened, you know what I'm saying?
You wouldn't give it to Sawtelle since they're the closest? It's right here.
Yeah, I mean, they used to come, but so is Venice. They both would come, you know, so it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? I would say mainly Sawtelle, though, because there used to be a little dude named Froggy that grew up with me. He was my area. He wore glasses, thick-ass glasses, and he had a graspy voice. But he used to come through and interview with the business, though.
Let me ask you this. How long was Graveyard Crips up and running before you guys fell out with the Shorelines? Was it right out the gate, or was it a long period of time before you guys became enemies?
It was, I would say, let me see. I can remember when we used to ride dirt bikes and we had a little clique called, you know, our little dirt bike crew used to be the Blue Demons. And we'd go down there and ride bikes with them cats. But it was kind of like always, it was like, we'll fall out if we have a little function or something, somebody, you know, it only take one, you know what I mean? And that's how it always started. And like I say, it kind of like, you could say, came about right off the bat, you know what I mean? I would honestly say, yeah.
Right off the bat?
Yeah, you know what I mean? We was already getting into them before we even really started Graveyard. We was already getting into it with them. It's been a thing way before, like I told you, before I even came out here. That been like in the like before I came out here, they've been getting into it with them dudes.
So you can't name like a one incident that really kicked it off into a war? Like these dudes is real enemies on site. We see them, we're busting. They see us, they're busting. There wasn't an event that kicked that off?
I'm gonna tell you, now that you mention that, I'm gonna say 82, Santa Monica Civic Center. Ron DMC was supposed to perform that night and come, and y'all homies, well, not y'all homies, but they was there too. They got into it, and with them. But how it all happened, my sister's baby daddy was with this girl, some white girl on one of the show lines, disrespected him with his girl. He came over there and told us, and we was kicking it with Teaspoon and, you know, them and all over there at the Civic Center. I'll never forget that night. And he was like, yeah, Dwayne, I want to go over here, man. This dude, one of these dudes, I think he's from Venice, he disrespected my girl and grabbed her ass. He only did because he was around. Man, let me tell you, man, it was on. I remember that night right there.
That right there solidified the beef between you guys?
Yeah, I would say that really knocked it off like that, yeah. But it always has been, though.
When did the killing begin, and who was the first person to die in that war? Who's the first homie you guys lost to Venice?
Ken Dog. Ken Dog, rest in peace.
What year was that?
That
And,
was-
and what was the situation?
That was March. Well, it wasn't March because it was before March. That was at 90. It was 90 sometime. It was 90 because he had I never forget, he had died. I think he died in March because my baby mama said she seen him at Eddie's right there in the hood just on Valentine's Day. So that happened, yeah, 1990.
Tell us about Ken Dog. His name always kind of like pops up. When you hear Graveyard, his name kind of like pops right up right after you say it.
Yeah.
Tell us about him, his personality.
Oh, can I hold on a second?
Go ahead, yeah.
Baby sat. No, because it was a violation. I went in 90 and I got out in 92. So yeah, it was 92. It was February, and that's why I say I had the years mixed up. That was the time I went back to Jamestown. He got killed while I was in prison.
Was that strictly some gang shit, or was it a fluke, or what was the situation behind that?
Well, to my knowledge, it was some little guy was riding around with him or whatever, some dude that just happened to bounce up and start claiming the hood. You know, the homies always quick to embrace people that come around. They really don't know nothing about them. You know, I guess trying to get the numbers up or whatnot. I don't know. I was incarcerated at the time, but from what I hear, it was like they was riding to take some girls home or whatever. He had took some girls home to Culver City, and the Venice guys came, and at the time, one of the homies from PBG had a car, the same color exact car as Ken Dog, and they claimed they was coming from PBG hood, you know, whatever the case may be, and they seen homie, and they bend around, and everybody knew him, and they, you know, they let it go. Then I guess when they pulled off, the little nigga that was in the car riding with Ken Dog, he was like, he hollered and disrespected, you know, F, you know, no line, you know what I'm saying?
So what, they got him down there by PBG hood or down there by the Mar Vista projects?
Over here off of Motor in Venice, right there.
Over in Venice. Let me ask you something. Has Ken Dog been to YA?
Yeah.
Because there's a few homies that's been to YA that speaks on him.
Yeah, he's been to YA.
Okay.
He's a good dude, man, young kid. I mean, you know, this is my young homie. He quiet and it's like he was like, his parents, like I say, his people from Venice is gangster. I know y'all know gangster. That's his people. And gangsta ain't feeling that.
He has family from Venice, and Venice knocked him down.
Yes.
Y'all got a crazy relationship.
Don't they though? They got a crazy relationship. I ain't got no people from here. Shit. They got a crazy
But there's
relationship.
multiple dudes from Graveyard that got family ties
whole-
in the Shoreline.
A whole lot of them.
So how can that even be a beat that goes into the killing fields?
That's what I say, man. It been going on like that since, you know what I mean? I've been out here. So I couldn't say. I got homies from there that don't even like their cousins. You know what I'm saying? They don't even, you know?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So Ken Dog is the first and only death by the hands of the Shorelines?
Yeah. Yeah.
So before Ken Dog, there's no dead graveyards.
No. Not by the hands of the Shorelines. I had homies killed, you know what I'm saying, other places, but no.
What about this Freddie Clayton guy here that got killed in 1986?
Oh yeah, that was like my big brother.
Was he a Graveyard Crip?
No. It was not a Graveyard Crip.
How come people give him that label?
I don't know. Cause he used to, probably because he used to live with us. I don't know. But he never gang banged no Graveyard Crip. Freddie Clayton was from Mississippi. He was a working guy. He claimed Santa Monica because of all the little crews and cliques they hung out with. But he wasn't never, you know what I'm saying, no graveyard.
What's the story behind his death, if you can touch on it?
From what I understand, it was like he got killed down there in Venice on 7th and Brooks, stabbed right in the chest. From what I understand, it was over some dope, from what I heard, and it was a kind of mistaken identity. The dude that had stabbed him, he knew him. Freddie knew him, and my homie Freddie, rest in peace, had hands. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, you know, asking what he tripping on, and the boy just stabbed him behind some dope or whatever, man. You know, some drug shit, man.
Doesn't Freddie got a little brother or older brother?
Spook got you know, he's the oldest boy. Freddie's the oldest. He got Spook. Spook is in jail in Pennsylvania. Call him Mooney. He's another one used to run with us. See, when he was one used to run with us too, way before Graveyard or anything. When we first moved out here, he was one used to run with us and shit. And then his mama and them, they ended up moving from here and moved to Venice. And he used to be a poser before he became a Shoreline. So now they saying he's Shoreline.
What they call them composers?
Spook.
Then he went to
Moon.
Venice and turned Venice Shoreline?
Yep.
And what they call
I
him
guess they
Venice?
turned Spook.
Spooky from Posers and Spooky from Venice Shoreline.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ain't it though? I talked to him the other day. He in Pennsylvania all day with an elbow right now. Yeah. Them was like my brothers. Steve Clayton and Freddie Clayton, rest in peace. Them was like my brothers.
On the last interview, which got cut out, you have mentioned the homeboy Teaspoon and that whole 5'8" scene. How do you even know about 5'8" and Teaspoon and that whole thing? How'd you get picked up with that situation?
Well, my sister got a baby by, I don't know if you know the Ashford. Miss Bessie. They live right there on 58th Place in Normandy. You know, when I used to get in the bullshit out here and run from the police, I go over there and hide. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be hiding. But I knew Teaspoon. I know just about his brothers, J-Rat, Blazer D, rest in peace. Most of those cats on it, Ant, all them, Van, Vinny, all them guys, man. I know most of them cats over there, man.
What year was this you was going on 58?
86, 85, 86.
And what was
One went to jail, 86, 85, 86.
And what was the gang on 58th Street in 1986?
It was 5'8" hustlers. 5'8" hustlers. That was $1 million block, man. You know, like I told you, that was the first time I ever seen rock cocaine in my life. I ain't know nothing about no damn rock cocaine.
They wasn't selling rocks over here in Santa Monica?
No, hell. But now, you know, the older cats probably was like doing their own base and shit, but as far as dudes my age and shit that I grew up with, no, I ain't never seen nothing like that. I'm gonna keep it real. Hell no.
So when did crack cocaine get introduced to the graveyards and when y'all started hustling? When did that kick off?
I'm gonna say, shit, that was like around that time, because when I seen it, I get hooked up through Teaspoon, through his, I don't know if you know, his cousin is blood from 20s, Trey K. Big Trey K, light-skinned Trey K, did that thing with the liquid smoke. You know, so that's how I really got into that.
Being in Santa Monica and going to school with celebrities in the area, who was your guys' clientele as crack cocaine dealers?
Oh man. Well, shit. As far as the smokers, Rick James, man. Richard Pryor, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tony Tubbs. You know what I'm saying? What's the boy name? That dude, the Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
What about our boy on Different Strokes?
Oh, Todd Bridges. I never had any runners with Todd Bridges.
No?
No, sir. I never had any runners with Todd Bridges.
What about the white girl on Different Strokes?
Oh, I ain't never had any with her neither. No, sir.
Man, who had Robert Downey Jr. in the headlock, man? That would have to be some bread right there.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just heard he was coming through and got caught in the Culver City motel over there somewhere in Culver City.
I had asked you in the original interview, but did you ever try to get Sugar Ray in the headlock?
No. I never tried. He just come do his shit and he get on, man.
Did you ever quiz him on boxing since you like to fight?
No, because he be in and out real quick. You know what I mean? He was kind of like trying to do his shit and get on. You know what I mean? One I used to talk to a lot, that I did talk to, was Rich, though. Every once in a while he come in with that, that white lady in his little yellow corniche rag right there on the dove right there.
When Richard Pryor would come through, was he serious or was he joking when he would come through?
Joking.
Yeah.
He'll say a joke every now and then.
So let me switch subjects a little bit. Can you tell us anything about 4800? Were graveyards hitting 4800 Crip margin in the county jail, or you guys bypassed that?
Well, it was 4700. It was overflow. 4700 was overflow for 4800. You know what I'm saying? When they all was in there, Big Insane, my god brother Earn Dog, they tried to drag me up in there one time. They see me working in the kitchen, but I ended up going and catching the wayside line. How? I don't know. But no, in that area, I didn't make it in there. I didn't go to there, but they was trying to get me in that motherfucker though.
You had mentioned on the last one, you had went to the penitentiary and you was in there with some of the homeboys. I can't remember what names you had told me.
Oh yeah, man, a whole lot of them. I mean, Christopher Tucker, that's Droop, Lil Droop, my big Droop, Muggs, Horse, Cousin Carrie, Big Cousin Carrie, Mel Rock, let's see who else. Money Muns, Bam, let me see, B-Ron, G-Ron. It's a whole lot, man. I can go on and on, man.
So my thing is, you was in good standing and had good relationships with the homies.
Yeah.
On top of that, you had a better relationship with the homies on 58th.
Yeah.
So explain to me how your gang shifted over to being 3-time nap bashers and going against the whole neighborhood car. How did that come into play, knowing that you had relationships with the other side?
Well, that had a lot to do, I would say, like when I went at that time. You know, when I went at that time, wasn't no real homies on the street from my generation. You know what I'm saying? I was gone. My brother got in an accident, and he wasn't, you know, all there. You know, so it was like some of the dudes that, like my younger homie, that try to keep shit going. You know what I'm saying? And somehow it just coincided. And you know, some of them cats started hanging with the little youngsters.
When you said you was in there with the homies, where were you at?
Oh shit, I done been in Soledad, Tehachapi, Lancaster, up north Mill Creek, Corcoran, Delano, you know what I'm saying? Ironwood. I was several places with them.
So let me ask you this: when the graveyards hit the penitentiary, what car do you guys roll with?
Oh, the West LA car, which consists of the Shorelines, and that's crazy. The Shorelines, the PBGs, the Marvins, the Mansfields.
So the West LA has their own car outside of the gangster car? You guys don't fold up underneath the gangster car?
No. See, like I say, that's the younger generation. We grew up under the gangster car, but the West LA gangster car though. You know what I mean? It's a difference. You know what I mean? This younger generation, they start hanging out with the A-Trays, you know. They cool too. I know some of them, a lot of them too, they hang out with them, and that's where they got caught up in all that at right there, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, just to fill the history in a correct order, explain why Graveyard claims 3 times.
Sitting reminiscing about the days of way back. Big kid, dollar folders, gun holders with the gym on the rollers. Keep waiting, the fire at the stove shop. Don't make dollars, it don't make sense.